Welcome back, Gundam guys and Gundam gals. Patrick Grade here from GGInfiniteNews.com. This time I'm bringing you part 2 of the review for the Master Grade Full Armor Unicorn Gundam. So in the first part we went over all of the individual components of the mobile suit itself, as well as their transformations, and then we went through the plethora of mistakes that I made from the first video. So now it's time to take a look at all the accessories that this kit comes with. And quite honestly, the mobile suit is kind of old hat at this point in time. We've seen this Master Grade a couple times before in different variations, but what really makes this kit unique are all the accessories it comes with. So let's take the time to look at each individual accessory and how it works on the suit itself. So here we go. Alright, so let's start by taking a look at the accessories that we've seen before on the Master Grade Unicorn versions. The shields and the Beam Magnums. Now usually we only get one of each on the other Master Grade releases, but this time we get 3 shields and 2 Beam Magnums. And there's no real difference in between the different variations of the shields, except for the way they connect to the figure. This one shield is meant to be on the backpack, and it has the sliding attachment point here. And each of the other 2 are part of the Beam Gatling gun assembly, and use this third attachment piece here that slides down on the rail. And this helps secure the shield to the Beam Gatling gun assembly, along with the Hyper Beam Javelin. So they all function the same way. Fold out the butterfly wings on either side, and then you can open them up all the way like that. But anyway, the shields are pretty simple. They look nice. The one in the back has a different decal set. These are unique to the one that goes in the back, and again the one in the back has a sliding attach mechanism there. And the Beam Magnum seems to be the same as it was on the OVA version, at least. It splits in the middle to allow you to remove the E-cap battery pack and put a new one in, I guess, if you want to. But it looks really nice, a very powerful looking weapon. There's a couple sliding joints here, this one at the top, this one on the side, and then on the other side we have this handle for a double hand holding. So you get 2 of those, they're identical. Nothing too fancy about them, but they look really nice. So you also get 8 of these little grenade packs. They have 3 red grenades inside, and these open up on a little hinge joint here that allows the lid to stay in place. And the grenades are all stuck together, they're all a single unit. I suppose if you want to, you could cut them all apart from each other and shave them down and everything, but that may cause some stability issues with storing these guys inside here. So these are real simple, just 2 pieces of gray plastic to make up the holder, and then 1 chunk of red plastic for the 3 grenades there. So there's no real difference between these 8 grenade packs except for the way they are stored on the kit. 4 of them go on these 2 rails, 2 packs in each rail, and these are stored alongside one of the edges on the Hyper Bazookas. And the other 4, again 2 each, are stored on these curved pieces that go alongside the outside of each of the legs. So you have 6 grenades on each leg and 6 on each of the Hyper Bazookas between these little packs here. And also each of the Hyper Bazookas gets one of these anti-ship missile packs. Just some red plastic inside these 2 pieces of plastic here that clip into place with this little peg. These don't come out or anything. You can open them up if you want to, but you can see they're not meant to be displayed outside of this case. And some nice detail inside there. So these are real simple, nothing much going on with these guys, just they're there for decoration, I guess. They look nice in that capacity, and if you added some paint to them they would look a lot better. And you also get these 2 grenade launchers that are stored underneath the Hyper Bazooka as well. So these are just simple little weapons here, 2 pieces of plastic stuck together with these clips stuck inside. And the clips are stored on another chunk of plastic that holds them in place pretty well. so you can swap them out if you want to. Some color separation would be nice here, so some painting on these things would go a long way. But there's a lot of nice sculpted detail in here, so some paint would really help. And here are the empty, unadorned Hyper Bazookas. You get 2 of these guys. This is in the completely collapsed mode. They can pull apart in the center here to add some length there. And in the back you can pull apart this piece here. And that allows you to insert the ammo pack up in there. So I don't know if there's a trick I'm missing or something I didn't see in the manual. But the ammo pack doesn't stay in place really well. It's just held in place by the friction provided by this little guy here. There's no way to lock it in place that I can find. So if anybody knows a trick to make this stay in place better, please let me know. But it's usually okay. Just sometimes on the backpack it kind of wiggles free when you're trying to pose it. So here it is, all spread out and ammoed up. But of course there's a lot more to add to it. And let's start with the flat grenade rack. This goes on one side, just peg it in place there. The anti-ship missile pods go on the opposite side, like that. And the grenade launchers are stored underneath here. The small peg on top here is friction into place there. And that seems to stay in place pretty well. Haven't had any trouble with it falling off by itself. And one thing I forgot to show is to store it on the backpack you need to flip up the little connection point there. That stores in back there. So this is a very heavy weapon with everything attached to it. But with the strong connection back here, it stays in place really well in the backpack. So I haven't seen it come off very easily. And it seems to hold on pretty well in the hands as well. So if you choose to do that. The only problem I have is that the ammo pack doesn't stay on very well. Unless there's something I'm missing, a way to attach it better. But I have yet to find that. So let me know if you know anything about that. So anyway, there's a fully loaded Hyper Bazooka. A pretty fearsome looking weapon, I would say. So next up are the Beam Gatling guns. And you get 6 of these guys. 3 for the left and 3 for the right. And there's no real difference between the two except for the way stuff is positioned. These little clips up here, they can be flipped this way or that way. And these are what you use to secure the Gatling guns to the forearms. And then these little detail pieces here at the bottom, these are separate. They can move around. And you want to have the bar thing on the outside with the scope thing on the inside of each one. So, and I don't know what this is for really. I can't tell in the manual at least. This is on some kind of swivel. But I don't know what that is supposed to do actually. I don't see it defined in the manual anywhere. So the construction of these guys is pretty simple, and what's really nice is that all the parts for each gun come on its own individual plate. So there's 6, I think it's the Q plates maybe. And each plate has all the parts you need to assemble one of the Gatling guns, which is nice. You don't have to go hunting around multiple plates to find the parts for these guys. This was the most monotonous part to put together, just because there's 6 of them. And each of these barrels is separate, so you get 4 barrels, 4 of the barrel tips here, and then each of these barrels here are separate as well. So there's 4 inner barrels. So you get 8 little parts here to you to clean, and then the attachment piece here in between. But it's not too bad. You can get each plate done in 5 to 10 minutes or so. Once you get the construction down, it's real easy to do. And there's no real movement aside from these guys sliding around. You can't spin the barrels. Well, you can, but eventually it'll come apart. So there's no spinning barrel action there without risking pulling the pieces apart. And the drum here doesn't move. It's notched into place, and nothing really going on up here either. So the spark can come off and swap back and forth depending on which side you need it on. And there are a lot of stickers that go on this, one for each barrel, and some dry transfers here along the edges and stuff. So I tried putting them on, but I can't do it very well, so I gave up. I suck at stickers. It would be nice to have some color separation going on the Gatling guns, but it's not a big deal. So each of the handles on the left and right version line up when you flip them around, and you can place them together like this. And that holds together pretty well just by itself. So like I said before, these guys, the Gatling guns go on the forearm, and you can see these little notches here on either side of the beam saber housing. So these little pegs go into these holes here on the side. It's hard to do in front of the camera. And that way they are attached to the forearms. So it's a really secure connection. I don't think they're going to fall off at all unless you really fiddle with them a lot. And it looks pretty badass too, having 2 Gatling guns in each forearm. So there's a complete set for each forearm, and then there's a set of 2 that goes on the backpack as well, in a similar fashion. So for the last of the weapons, you get 2 hyper beam javelins, and this is their collapse mode for storage and transportation. Not much going on in this mode, but when you transform, it looks pretty cool. So first thing we want to do is pull off the handle here, and then slide this piece here up some. That allows this guy to fold out and connect that together in the back. This piece folds down, and this other piece here folds out. This is supposed to come off here, and then either connect to the top up here like that, or it can also attach to the bottom of a beam magnum if you want it to. If you flatten this part out here, tuck that in under there, and then snap into place. And then attach the effect parts if you want to. And these 2 pieces can separate to expose some psycho frame. And that way you have a bayonet for your beam magnum. And it looks pretty crazy. So this is the original position for the handle. Then you move the handle up here a little bit, so it could be a little more towards the top. And there's psycho frame under here. You just swivel out a little bit. And the top part also has some psycho frame if you just pull that part up. So some green showing through on the edges. And the last thing to do is to attach your effect parts to both pieces up here. And then that way you get the full effect of the beam javelin. The effect parts add quite a bit of weight to the top here, so I assume it's going to be kind of hard for this thing to be held in place very securely. But we'll see how it looks when we get to it. Alright, so you also get these 2 giant propellant tanks that have these thrusters here at the back. These are cool because they have some color separation. There's a red inner piece that goes inside the gray outer frame, so that's kind of neat to see that. But other than the gray and the red, it's a majority of the white, obviously. And I added some gray panel lines along these edges here to bring out some of the detail. I think it looks pretty decent. The tanks are held in place by this sturdy claw mechanism here that slots down into place on this top piece. And once it's there, it's very hard to pull them out. You can't really pull them out straight out. You have to separate them on either side to get them out. So they hold in place really well. And there's a very thick peg here that pegs into place on the backpack accessory. So even though these are very heavy, they stay in place in the backpack pretty well. So there is quite a bit of weight to each of these. And they include these stands to help you prop them up when you want to put them on the backpack. And I'll show you these later when we actually use them. But these guys also have a second function. They can be on the backpack, or they can be a part of the Jabber Base 94 or Base Jabber 94. I don't know which way, the Jabber and the Base, which one comes first. So these are used in that assembly. So here's the rest of the Jabber Base 94. A simple yet pretty cool looking spaceship model. You can see two little pilots up here front in the cockpit. But oddly enough, there's no windshield or anything here on the model kit, so hopefully their normal suit's pretty good so they can survive in the vacuum of space. But the main purpose of this thing is to deliver the unicorn into battle. So there are two handles up here on top, a knee rest on either side, as well as a footrest in back. So this doesn't do much to go without the propellant tanks installed in. So what you have to do is pull this assembly out from either side. Then on each of the thruster tanks, separate the claws here to detach them from the tanks. And on the back, pull off the nozzle assembly here. And then you take the parts you pulled off from the jabber base and slot these into place like that. And then on the jabber base, these go up in here. Like so. So that way the tank can sit, clip back in place on front here. But then in back, you can see there is a little notch right here. And you've got to line up the notch on the side of the tank there to go into place. So sometimes you have to pull the tank apart from the top part and turn it around a couple times until you get the notches on either side to line up. So with that locked into place there, take the thrusters and put it back on there, and that way the tank is in there very securely. So with everything assembled, you get a pretty cool looking little transport vehicle here with some heavy duty skids on the bottom and some cool details there, here and there. So there's not too much as far as moving parts go. The handles are stationary, the skid plates don't move, the cockpit doesn't come up or anything, but the knee rests kind of swivel around a little bit. And you can also adjust where the knee rest sets. Each of these three circles here, you can plug this peg into each of these three holes here, so you can adjust the distance between the knee holder and the footrest in the back. And the footrests can swivel back and forth here. Otherwise, everything else is pretty stationary. So if you wanted to know how much you get for a kit that costs a little over $100, well, here's everything all laid out next to each other, just so you can see how much stuff it comes with. So yes, the kit is a little expensive, but you get quite a bit of stuff to play with, and it can take you a nice long time to get everything together. So I think so far it's worth the money. So I'll wrap up part 2 here and be back shortly with part 3, where I'll show you how everything looks all put together. It's quite an impressive sight to see everything put together, and I'll be happy to show you that in a little bit. So stay tuned, and I'll be back shortly. Thanks a lot.